Do you have a Canadian grandparent? We bring to you the 2025 Guide to Citizenship by Descent, plus the new Substantial Connection Rule. Welcome to the Canada Immigration Matters channel. Are you wondering if a Canadian grandparent could make you or your child eligible for Canadian citizenship and a Canadian passport? You're not alone. In 2025, Canada introduced interim options and proposed new legislation to fix long-standing barriers for people born outside Canada to Canadian families. Today, we'll explain how the rules work, who qualifies, and the exact steps to claim your proof of citizenship. And when a discretionary grant of citizenship may apply if you're the second generation born abroad. We're Chugo Immigration Services, and we help families around the world navigate this process. Quick disclaimer. This video is for general information only. Rules may change after November 20th, 2025. Always check the Government of Canada website or speak with a qualified professional before you apply. We'll link official pages below. The interim pathway and the substantial connection test we discuss come from IRCC's 2025 updates and proposed legislation. What citizenship by descent means. Citizenship by descent is when a child born outside Canada is a Canadian because of their Canadian parent. Historically, Canada limited this to the first generation born abroad. That meant many people with a Canadian grandparent were not automatically citizens. In December 2023, an Ontario court found parts of that limit unconstitutional. The court suspended its ruling and the federal government created interim measures while Parliament works on a permanent fix. As of today, the current rules remain in effect until at least November 20th, 2025. Two big pathways we'll cover. Pathway A. Your parent was born in Canada. In most cases, you are already a Canadian citizen by law. You need to apply for a citizenship certificate as proof. Pathway B. Your parent was born outside Canada, and you were also born outside Canada. You are the second generation abroad. Under interim measures, you can apply for a citizenship certificate and then may be invited to request a discretionary grant of citizenship, especially if the substantial connection test applies in your family. First, let's discuss Pathway A. If your parent was born in Canada, that means automatic Canadian citizenship by descent. If at least one of your parents was born in Canada, you're typically a Canadian citizen, even if you, your parent, and your grandparent have lived outside Canada for years. What you need is proof, a Canadian citizenship certificate. Here is what you can do. Apply for a citizenship certificate online or by paper through IRCC. Provide your long-form birth certificate showing your parents' names, your parents' Canadian birth certificate or citizenship certificate, ID, photos, and any name change documents. Pay the $75 fee and submit your application. Once approved, use the citizenship certificate to apply for a Canadian passport. Please note this. A citizenship certificate is proof, not a travel document. You will use it to apply for a Canadian passport after approval. Fees and processing times can change. Check IRCC's site. Now, on to Pathway B, parent born outside Canada. You were also born outside Canada, second generation abroad. This is where the first generation limit bites. Under the rules enforced today, people in the second generation born abroad are not automatically Canadian. But since March 2025, IRCC has had an interim measure. If you're affected by the first generation limit, you can apply for a citizenship certificate. IRCC will send a letter confirming the limit still applies and invite you to request a discretionary grant of citizenship from the minister. The substantial connection test, why it matters. Canada has proposed legislation, Bill C-3, that would extend citizenship by descent beyond the first generation, but require the Canadian parent to show a substantial connection to Canada. At least 1,095 cumulative days, that's 3 years, of physical presence in Canada before the child's birth or adoption. IRCC's interim measure already prioritizes cases for children born or adopted on or after December 19th, 2023, where the Canadian parent meets the 1,095-day test. This helps families who need decisions now while Parliament completes the permanent fix. What counts as substantial connection in practice? For parents born outside Canada who are Canadian citizens, gather proof of your time physically in Canada before your child's birth or adoption. Examples include entry and exit records, accommodation leases, employment records, tax documents, school records, or utility bills that show you were living in Canada. You're aiming to show at least 1,095 days in total. If you meet that bar and your child was born or adopted on or after December 19, 2023, your case can be prioritized under the interim measure. Let's see some global examples. Example 1. Your dad was born in Toronto, you were born in the UK. You're already Canadian by descent. Apply for a citizenship certificate, then for a Canadian passport. Example 2. Your mom was born in Dubai to Canadian parents. She's Canadian by descent. And you were born in South Africa. You're likely in the second generation abroad. Apply for a citizenship certificate. IRCC should invite you to request a discretionary grant. If your mom can show at least 1,095 days in Canada before your birth, and you were born on or after December 19, 2023, your file may be prioritized. Proving your Canadian grandparent was Canadian. If you're second generation abroad, you'll likely need to show that your grandparent was a Canadian citizen because your parent's Canadian status comes from that grandparent. Helpful documents include your grandparent's Canadian birth certificate or citizenship certificate, their old Canadian passports, marriage records, name change documents, and if records are missing, consider requesting a search of citizenship records through IRCC. How to apply for proof of citizenship. This applies to both pathways. Step 1. Use IRCC's Find Out What You Can Apply For tool to confirm your situation. Step 2. Apply for a citizenship certificate, proof of citizenship, online or by paper. Complete all forms carefully. Step 3. Include full-form birth certificates that name parents' identity documents, certified translations, and any legal custody documents if applicable. Step 4. Pay the $75 fee online. Don't forget to upload a copy of your receipt. Step 5. Submit your application. IRCC will acknowledge your application. If you're affected by the first generation limit, IRCC will invite you to request a discretionary grant under Section 5, Subsection 4. Discretionary grant request. What IRCC looks for in a discretionary grant. The minister decides whether to grant citizenship in special cases. For second-generation abroad families, you'll want to show a clear family line from your grandparents to your parent, who is Canadian, and to you. Also indicate why the first-generation limit is preventing a fair outcome for you, and make sure your parent's substantial connection to Canada, if applicable, is at least 1,095 days. You can plead to use humanitarian or practical reasons to decide now, especially for children and urgent needs. Interim policy guidance says IRCC will invite eligible applicants to request this after you file for a certificate. This could be your chance to become a Canadian citizen. Processing times, fees, and urgent cases. The fee for a citizenship certificate is $75. Processing times vary. IRCC updates timelines frequently. If you need citizenship urgently for school, medical care, work, or travel, you can request urgent processing with evidence. Once you receive the citizenship certificate, apply for a Canadian passport. Remember, the certificate is proof. The passport is the travel document. Here are some travel and status tips. Tip 1. If you're already a Canadian, Pathway A, don't apply for an ETA or visitor visa. Canadians should travel on a Canadian passport. Consider applying for urgent proof, then a passport. Tip 2. If you're second generation abroad and awaiting a decision, discuss your travel plans with a professional. Depending on your situation, you may need to wait for the decision or use your non-Canadian passport until proof and a Canadian passport are issued. IRCC also offers urgent processing in some situations. Common mistakes to avoid include submitting a short-form birth certificate that does not list parents, missing translations or uncertified translations, name mismatches not explained with legal documents, assuming you're not eligible without checking the interim options, and forgetting that timelines and rules may change after November 20th, 2025. Always verify current guidance before you file. Frequently asked questions. Let's go over some frequently asked questions. Question: my parent passed away. Can I still apply? Answer: yes. If your parent was born in Canada, you can still prove your citizenship using their Canadian birth certificate or citizenship certificate, plus your long-form birth certificate linking you to them. Question: we can't find the grandparent documents. What now? Answer: you may request a search of citizenship records or use other evidence like old passports and government records. Question: does adoption count? Answer: yes, but adoption adds technical steps. The interim measure also covers people adopted on or after December 19, 2023, for prioritized consideration if the Canadian parent has 1,095 days in Canada pre-adoption. We have done other videos on adoption. You can look it up to know how adopted children can become Canadian citizens or permanent residents. What's changing in 2025 and why you should act fast? In June 2025, the government introduced Bill C-3 to permanently extend citizenship by descent beyond the first generation, using the 1,095-day substantial connection rule. While Parliament considers the bill, the current rules remain until the court suspension ends, currently November 20th, 2025. The interim discretionary grant pathway exists now for eligible people. If you think you qualify, start preparing your documents so you're ready to file. How can we help? We know this can feel overwhelming, especially if records are scattered across countries. At Chugo Immigration Services, we help families map out eligibility, gather the right documents, present strong discretionary grant requests, and avoid delays. If you have a Canadian parent or grandparent, or think you might, reach out. Send us an email or message us. You will see the contact details in the description area. We'll assess your situation and guide you from "do I qualify?" to holding your Canadian passport. Let's do a quick recap of our discussion. If your parent was born in Canada, you're likely already Canadian. Apply for a citizenship certificate, then a Canadian passport. If you're second generation abroad, use the interim pathway. Apply for a certificate. If the first generation limit applies, IRCC may invite you to request a discretionary grant. If your Canadian parent has 1,095 days in Canada, and you were born or adopted on or after December 19, 2023, your case may be prioritized. Check the official sites for current rules. That's all we have for you today. Send us an email to book your consultation, and we'll find the best path forward for your family. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share with other Canadian parents abroad. Your questions in the comments help us create more helpful content. Good luck and thanks for watching.